Coming up in this week's episode.
I did show off. The first time we got one from Rumbelows, I said to my mates, this has got Ceefax. I thought, what?
You know, in 30 years, people will be doing a podcast called Bring Back the 20s.
Yeah. If ever I wanted to return something delivered by Amazon, it was Katy Perry, that little rocket.
It's time to adjust those shoulder pads, backcomb what's left of your hair, and jump into the DeLorean for a look back at what's possibly the best decade anyone could ever have grown up in.
Shall we play a game?
This is Bring Back the 80s with your hosts James Alderson and me, Andy Jackson.
Thank you.
Welcome along.
Thanks,
unlucky episode 13, James.
It is, yeah. But lucky that I've got my beard back because we had some complaints.
You're catching up, James. Catching up there.
We had people messaging in saying we don't like seeing so much of your face. Can you cover it back up a bit with some more face furniture? So I'm back with the face.
If you are new to the podcast, it's reminiscing about the 1980s, as you would expect. What with the title called "Bring Back the 80s."
Yeah.
We're doing sort of alternative information sources because back then the internet had just about been a thing, but it wasn't people like us who would be using it. It would be people who would be, like they would be in their bedrooms.
Yeah, or was it like an intranet as well, wasn't it? So IBM might have it between their offices, but they weren't giving it to people like us. Or we saw it on Tomorrow's World, and there was someone they'd have to dial something. And I think it was like 92, 93 when it became a bit more commonplace for some, the odd mate to have it, just to chat and things. But 80s, it was just a pipe dream, wasn't it?
Yeah. I can still remember the first time I actually got onto the internet, and it would have been the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was just like I say, it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
So like, I'm at a computer, but it's on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Now we're FaceTiming each other. We're sending Katy Perry up into space.
Yeah.
We could do everything's completely changed, James.
If ever I wanted to return something delivered by Amazon, it was Katy Perry, that little rocket. I thought, let's send them back out to the studio they've just filmed that in. Anyway,
What I love about that is
topical news.
They gave them proper, space uniforms, didn't they?
Yeah.
They called them crew, didn't they?
Astronauts.
But were they actually pushing buttons? I want to know.
The push my buttons.
Were they doing?
I like the way that they could float around so brilliantly and help selfless. Just like floating around upside down, sprawled across this 9 foot across. Someone's not thought it through.
I'm not one for conspiracy theory. I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but something just doesn't feel right.
Well, I'm not sure about that caravan door that Katie opened to let herself out of the pressurised. No, bless them. I mean, it's the future, and one day they're going to do it. And I think that they've obviously taken their advice and from Star Trek in the early 80s, and that's all the set they need. Cardboard. It'll work. It'll be fine. And what you definitely want when you've gone up into space and come back down is just some businessman to make sure you're all right. Yes. Don't need any medics.
No medicals, nothing.
No fire engines, no safety. And ideally, none of that pod burnt after re-entry. Nothing. And I don't want the 25 miles an hour pod that lands on solid desert to not move any bushes. I don't want any dents in the ground. And ideally, I don't want anybody injured, because we've all hit something at 25 miles an hour and thought, that's nothing. Nothing. It's not a scratch. I've crashed at 10 miles an hour and written a car off before. Anyway, this is talking about information. Most of the information I remember as a kid wasn't international. You didn't get, unless it was a massive disaster or something, all the information you got through whatever medium it was localised. It was your little local town, your village, something that was happening that was very focused on your life and relevant to you.
Well, the newspapers were massive. The local papers were huge, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it's only like in recent times that they've just become if you're going to make a website and somebody said, how can we make this website impossible to use by having 1,000 pop-ups popping up at you.
Yep.
2 videos running at once.
Yeah, both audios running at once. Yeah,
just and like this much news, but this many ads.
Yeah,
that's what sadly, that's what local papers have become now.
I think there is more news than that, but you do have to subscribe and give your mother's maiden name and your CVV code on your card, and ideally a signature. I mean, I don't remember too much about information coming at me unless it was almost just from our street, but a lot of the stuff was like, I remember you could phone up and get the weather, couldn't you?
Yes.
I mean, it's bizarre now. You walk down to the local phone box to find out what the weather's going to be like for the day or two.
And it would have been quite an expensive call to make as well. I remember when you could phone dialer disc to listen. Yeah. You'd only have a phone dialer disc from work because work would pay. But even then, you're just listening to a bloody song down the phone. But that was our idea.
Well, I've got a little thing because I got a tear in my jeans the other day, so I got a little patch for my jeans to reflect the local calls. Busby, bless him, and you phone them up, and obviously, you annoy the operator, but you can also just try and get some information, local news, your local latest songs, and obviously, as I say, weather and shipping forecast, because most of us were fishermen.
Absolutely, yes. But there was one way where you could get news, and that was by going to the trusty BBC, but only late at night. I mean, obviously, you got the news. I could never remember whether it's news at 9 or news at 10.
News at 10, and the news at 1, I think they had one. I seem to remember. Yeah.
Done that. But then at night, things changed. Mm-hmm. Things changed. And also, there was, if you remember, although we only had the 3 channels or the 4 channels, they weren't 24/7.
No.
So let's go to see what flagship BBC One is doing at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What TV delights do you think we might have?
And the time. Just after 2 minutes past 3, and until the regional news at 3:52, followed by Children's BBC at 3:55. We return now to a selection of pages from Ceefax.
I love the music that they had. People are cultish now about collecting this kind of music. There you go. League Cup, Oxford versus Swindon. Yeah. Rugby League, 2nd Division. Weather and travel coming up in a moment. Everything you need.
You only need 5 temperatures in the country. What's wrong with you?
But I love the way that everything was square. It's like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Everything. They could not make round things, could they?
We didn't need
round things. Yeah.
It was all rough around the edges in the 80s. I've annoyed, as I told you about off air, so to speak. I couldn't find my original teletext leaflet, but I have got a teletext on ITV and Channel 4 guide to the information channel. It is 1996, but obviously we know it's all the same tones from the 80s. And there's a £1,000 lottery winning code at the bottom there. You can buy a house or two. But yes, I think it must have been at the tail end of the lifespan of teletext and Ceefax, late 90s, surely.
Yeah, because teletext was ITV and Channel 4. That was the commercial side of things, hence the lottery.
Yeah.
And it was Ceefax was the BBC. But I also remember one called Oracle.
I was just about to say that. Page the Oracle.
But what was Oracle then?
Maybe that was like the forerunner for all of them before they split off.
Don't know.
The slogan was "Page the Oracle." I'm sure it is, and something happened with Oracle. But you would go on teletext. You could even get an adapter for your old telly to bring teletext to the telly, like it was it was the internet, really, I suppose. And when you ask in an audience, a lot of people book their holidays from teletext. Yeah. I guess it brought up a phone number, did it? That you had to then
you had to phone. I remember seeing you saying about this. It reminded me that the teletext wasn't built into the telly.
Always, no.
And I remember going to the Ideal Home exhibition, and they had like a standalone set-top box. Yeah. To get your Ceefax, and it was just as it had just been invented, and people say, "Oh, this is amazing!
Yeah, it's the future."
Yeah,
and I did show off the first time we got one from Rumbelows. I said to my mates, "This has got Ceefax." And I thought, "What?" In the thing, it had it on the buttons. You press the Ceefax button, and then it was like, "What?" Yeah, we felt like you had something futuristic. That and a front-loading video recorder, not a top loading. Yeah. It was front loading. I mean, it was just brilliant. But you had the information at your fingertips, and that was unusual in the 80s, because if you wanted information from anything, you had to wait for it to come through your letterbox, or you had to go and find it.
To be fair, you did have to wait quite a lot if what you wanted was on page 800.
Yeah.
And it started at page 1. And so not every box, not every remote had like a fast forward thing. You would have to wait for it to go through the pages at its own time. And it would go like you'd get all your stuff that, the sport that you weren't interested in, Speedway and things like that. All the filler stuff before you got to the good stuff if you joined at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah. And also, it would go fast or slow. It would just randomly slow down. It was like 100, 200, 300, 301, 302. Like, no, I'm at 7. I want 700, 500, 600, 601, 600. Yeah, so and you're missing, Grange Hill, so you're gutted.
And there was I seem to remember as well, it was like an optional thing to have a hold button.
Yeah.
If you had a hold button, because if you couldn't read it, if you hadn't finished reading it, it had gone over. But then somebody said, well, why don't we put like a pause button for teletext?
Yeah, great idea. Thank you. Yeah. Speed reading at 9 years old, trying to see what the weather's going to be like for tomorrow. Yeah. So, it was a real... It was just a standard. You accepted the brilliant feature that you had of getting this information whenever you wanted it on your telly.
I think it was because it was new though that we'd never had it before. It's like then that's if you compare that to the internet we have now, you think, oh, that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
But then now, in 30 years, people will be doing a podcast called Bring Back the 20s.
Yeah.
And they'll be looking at Katy Perry going up in her cardboard rocket and everybody's back. Yet we'll all be commuting to Mars.
Of course we will.
To do our jobs if we choose to. So we won't think twice about going to the Mars in a cardboard rocket. Yeah, in a cardboard rocket.
No, I know. I do. I hope that she does go back into space. But and if it's cardboard, good luck to her.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the bit where they had William Shatner down on the ground to sort of to welcome them back, from Star Trek, and Elon Musk was not Elon Musk, Bezos was there as well.
Yeah,
and bless him, Shatner was trying to make like a really profound speech.
Oh, was he? Yeah,
and Bezos was just not having any of it. And he was just like, he was like not hearing a word that he said. And he just interrupted him to pop open a bottle of champagne. And it was just but you got to have William Shatner. Anything to do with space, you got to have William Shatner.
Of course,
to
or Chewbacca. That wouldn't have been the same speech, would it? Yeah, R2D2. Yeah. No, I think we got to be careful around the old Shatner because he's getting on a bit. You wouldn't pop anything to surprise him. Last thing you want is him to keel over. Oh God, yeah. Bless him. But yeah, he probably helped come up with the set.
I think he drew it. I think he did it. He did look like...
No, it's not.
Like Star Trek.
So it's an 80s rocket that they went up in, and it makes it so relevant. That's the thing, you see. The information now is I'm just getting bombarded on Instagram about all these conspiracy theorists going, look at this, this didn't happen, this isn't right, how can you do this? And there would no way that we'd have heard about any conspiracies back in the 80s.
We just believed what we were told, didn't we?
Of course you would. It would have turned up in the newspaper or turned up in your local news, possibly, and it would have been the future. I've got a bit of newspaper here from the 80s. This is very local. Like you said, the news would be the most local ever. This was the Havant and Waterlooville edition of the Portsmouth City newspaper, but they also had a Gosport edition. I think they even had one up in sort of north of Waterlooville edition, sort of close to Petersfield. And this has got...
it's a broadsheet as well. It's big.
It's a big old one, mate. And they've got the firemen heroes of a car drama have been taken to hospital. You can get a Miracle microwave for £299. We've just bought a new microwave for £100, I think. So prices are so expensive these days. And tonight, of course, clear spells early in the night with some light rain later. Light to moderate westerly wind. Minimum temperature 5 degrees. Sea conditions slight.
Oh, that's good. That's handy to know.
You get a slight C if you want one.
But how did they know what the temperature was in the various places? Because now, with every, sad people like me, have got little weather stations and they're all connected to the internet, and it will send in, wind speed, it will send in temperatures and things. But then, how did they know that it was going to be? How did they know what the current temperature was in Waterlooville? How would they know that unless they sent somebody out there with a thermometer?
I think they did that
to measure it.
I think they did that. Yeah, I think they had a little person stood there full time with a thermometer. Yeah, so we've got all sorts going on. Obviously, Noel Edmonds used his private helicopter to ferry fire extinguishers to a scene of a plane crash near Fair Oaks Airport in Surrey. And look, I mean, here we go. What else have we got? Albums that say thank you. There we go. He's presented with 2 master albums for a concert at Chichester Festival Theatre last month, just to say thank you. And obviously we've got Bert and Daisy cartoon strip. So, do you want to go anywhere for Bank Holiday weekend, mate? Where can we
go?
The Devon and Somerset border. Right. I think you just go there and come back again. You don't actually go into Devon. You go to the border. £5. If you want to go to Thorpe Park, it leaves at 9:30 on Bank Holiday Monday.
Oh, these are coach trips.
Yeah, that's right. £3.20. And if you want to go to Alfriston Village, because that's the place, it leaves at 2:30, so it's not a big village. It leaves at 2:30 in the afternoon, back by 3. No, and it's £3.20. So there's lots to do, but this is daily. This is a daily newspaper for Havant and Waterlooville, which at the time probably had, I would have guessed, around 100,000 people.
Yeah. Am I allowed to touch it?
Have a little look, mate.
Because I was looking at the... but 2 things I've noticed.
Yeah.
Right, first of all, front page, not all of it, but some of it's colour.
The picture of
colour. They've not managed to do colour for every picture on the front.
No.
There is one colour picture for some reason.
Yeah, which is weird, because if you print in colour, you print in colour.
Unless they just have a special bit just to do that.
Just a block for a photo.
But I was just looking at the drive-away deals on all new Nissan cars.
Oh, thank God.
Cars of Lee, cars of Fareham. You can get a Micra Stanza.
Oh, yeah.
Or a Cherry.
Oh, yeah.
Or a Bluebird or a Laurel or a Silver. Probably quite collectible now, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got brochures for them, obviously.
Obviously.
And what I like about that is that you can drive the cars away. Drive away deals. It's just like, or not. Let's have a deal where you're not allowed to drive them away.
There was none of this nonsense about prove your insurance before you can take it away.
No.
There was none of this nonsense about
the legal stuff.
none of this nonsense about you can pay in a carry bag of used £5 notes if you want to.
Yeah.
We will take your money. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's none of this money laundering nonsense.
They don't worry about that.
They were not.
They just want a car shifted, don't they?
That's all they care about.
Yeah, it was great. And you'd end up with a guy selling you a car in a brown suit, brown tie, brogues, and slicked hair, probably smoking. And yes,
smoking.
and he'll sit in the car with that fag quite happily with you. Yeah, I mean, if you're worried, Rowland's Castle's in fear of mangling, and the Brambles factories get the go ahead. And ready? Oh no, I'm not going to read that one. But yeah, they got the people who want to nuke your food on page 19. I think they're talking about microwaves.
They could well be, couldn't they? But no, not at 199 quid back in the 80s. We couldn't afford that.
It's so funny, the scaremongering, even on a local level.
Let's take a quick break here, James.
Yep.
It's the mystery sound of the 80s.
Now, I know what it sounds like.
Oh, no, it's not, though, is it? You know what it sounds like.
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to think, because it does sound like that thing.
Yeah.
But it's not that thing.
Oh no. Okay.
It's not that thing. We'll find out at the end of the episode.
Okay.
We were talking as well. You were talking about Busby.
Yeah.
Do you remember before Busby though?
Yeah.
British Telecom were trying to. Basically, they were employing celebrities.
Yes.
To encourage us to use the phone.
Please. Yeah.
Do you remember Maureen Lipman?
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember her? Do you want to see the advert for?
Is that the one? The Ology?
It's the Ology.
Yes.
The one that everybody remembers, James. Watch out for the Ology towards the end.
Hello?
Anthony? Oh, congratulations on your exam results.
Grandma, I failed.
You failed? What do you mean you failed?
I mean I failed. Maths, English, physics, geography, German, woodwork, art. I failed.
You didn't pass anything?
Pottery.
Pottery? Very useful. Anthony, people will always need plates. Anything else?
And sociology.
An ology? It gets an ology and it says he's failed. You get an ology, you're a scientist.
Whether it's well done or hard luck, A phone call says a lot.
The most brilliant boys, the teachers who are wrong, you know, they can't mark. A lot of them can't see.
British Telecom.
Wow.
It's you we answer to.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny, though, that instantly, as soon as I said Maureen Lipman,
Yeah.
you instantly said Ology. That's just the one, isn't it?
Shit, I mean, it can't be great for her, can it? The acting roles she's done, West End, you name it, big stuff, and she's remembered for that.
That's what we remember her for.
Yeah, but brilliant. I mean, she was young there.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid looking at her thinking she's an old biddy, but she's probably 35.
Yeah.
And that got great. The lad sat on the stairs with the phone. He's taken it off the table to sit on the comfy carpeted thing. Unusual for somebody to have a phone in the kitchen on there, but you know, it helps her do a little baking, I suppose, while she's chatting. But the old telecom advert and the old telecom logo, because there used to be telecom vans just driving about.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose we've got Open Reach and everything else now, haven't we? Driving around.
But I think it was telecom. There was no, you couldn't go anywhere else. If you wanted a phone, you had to go to British Telecom. There was no. You couldn't order a phone. You couldn't choose your phone apart from this. They would say these are the phones you could have. You could perhaps have a trim phone, or you can perhaps have different colours.
Yeah. I suppose you do. I think maybe in the late 80s you could get fancy cordless things and stuff, but did they have to come from British Telecom as well? Possibly.
They had to have. I used to work I used to work
everywhere. I had
many jobs, and they all had to be approved by BT, and they would have we had two different stickers, and one would have a green triangle on it that we would have to stick, and that had been approved by British Telecom, and we had one with a red circle and a cross on it.
Not approved.
Was not approved. Obviously, they were cheaper. I mean, obviously, we still used to sell them.
Oh, okay.
But they still had a bit of a monopoly. They had to approve every bit of thing that was connected to their network before you could use it.
The information used to rely on that phone or teletext or the local papers for information to come in. We had no other way. My wife's not on social media, and she had no idea about the rocket thing with Katy Perry and that lot, because it's not, where else are you going to find out about it? You have to hear about it from somebody. So we were telling her all about it because she doesn't get a local paper, and she's not, getting phone calls from anybody talking about it. It's just on Instagram and Facebook all over the place, isn't it? I used to deliver local papers. So we had these, and then we had the free papers. You would pile through Street Life and Journal. I think there was another one. And they would go through, I'd be paid with leaflets in them, but paid to put them through everyone's door on a Thursday. And another way to get even more local information than, your day trips to the edge of the village.
Yeah.
Really, like street by street news almost.
That was how you could find your local craft person, though, wasn't it? If you needed some guttering cleaned, it would be from one of those little paper inserts in the free paper. Yeah,
and they tell you about the local outcry from the local school. Something had happened. There's a bloke in the park to be careful of. And a newsagent that's going to shut temporarily for a couple of days because Barry's on holiday. All that sort of stuff, and you just thought, wow. And it was the start. Now we get directories, don't we? Colourful, glossy directories. They're all dying now as well, bless them. But that was it. But at least in the local newspapers, there was actual news. Those directories are just full of adverts, of course, and the odd way to bake a Victoria sponge and a replacement garage doors. But yeah, local newspapers. Yeah,
with the chemist rota, there always used to be a chemist rota, so you knew which was if you needed an emergency. Whatever, late at night to get your emergency. Obviously, you couldn't be prescribed anything because the doctor. So quite what would be an emergency that you'd be able to get, I don't know.
Anus hole.
But
Caniston. So something.
And on that surprising note, James.
Oh, lovely.
James's special lunchbox surprise.
So then.
Right. Well, now I think, if I remember what I put in there, I think these came out in the 80s, and it was very exciting because they weren't your standard thing. And I think that it was quite a novelty, if I remember rightly. I think I put the right thing in there. Yes, that was it. Now, these are squares, or square crisps, as they were promoted.
Yes.
And we had Wotsits, of course, and Frazzles, and we had normal crisps, Monster Munch, stuff like this. But these would crunch, really crunchy and square, and I loved them. They came in cheese and onion, which wasn't always so popular, ready salted, and salt and vinegar. And that was it.
Correct colour for salt and vinegar as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't understand.
Are we opening these, James, to see if they crunch?
Yeah. I think there was Smith's Square Crisps back in the day.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And for some reason, Walkers have put their name on them, but they do put Smith's on some brands. But yeah, have one and see what you think. Because I saw them and bought them, but I haven't had some for ages.
I think instantly something is not quite right here, James.
How funny.
Instantly, although they are square...
They're square.
They're rolled over. I don't remember them being rolled over.
I've got one. Well, sort of. Not as salt and vinegary, but definitely as crunchy. Crikey.
Proper dried crunch.
Are they potato? Are they meant to be potato or maize? One of these maize things. Have you got a square one in there?
It's made out of potato granules.
Oh.
Potato granules.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I've just got another square
2 second
one.
roll.
Yeah, I mean... Very similar to what
I
remember, but I don't remember them not being square.
No, these are the square crisps.
They are square to start with when they were laid out on the tubes.
That's not quite right.
I don't remember. I remember having a bit of variation like that. Oh, hello. What happened then? Oh dear. Oh, it's my ZX Spectrum just falling over. We're all right. But yeah, I mean, tastes very similar. Did you ever have any as a kid?
Yeah, I do. And it tastes exactly. I'm not surprised by the taste. Therefore, I must be remembering vaguely how they taste.
Nice, just a bit of, and it's crunchy, I think, but
very,
just not,
very
maybe,
Moorish, very Moorish.
That's why it's best to put them over there. But yeah, maybe think about changing the name.
to Curls,
Chubby Squares.
Are you ready to find out what the mystery sound was?
Oh, please.
So, can you cast your mind back to tell me what you think it was?
I mean, obviously, I think it's a typewriter with the ding at the end. But it's probably...
okay, because I thought you were going to say the Fisher-Price Bell.
Oh, well, you had the Fisher-Price Bell in there.
Yeah.
It's the same manufacturer.
Let's have a look and see who was right then. So you were guessing typewriter.
Yeah.
Bang on.
Look at that. So I haven't got one for a while. I'm chuffed with that.
So that's, I mean, we've done electric typewriters before, but we've not done a manual.
No.
A manual typewriter.
My mum had one. In fact, I think we may still have it somewhere. It was a little one with a hard top to it that you could close over to protect it, and you carried it around with you, like a lot of secretaries did, of course, and which were ladies, and not men, but not anymore. Anyway, but you could change it to red. You could change it to red and black. It was like the future. And I think there were even some that could go over in white. It was weird. But yes, I used to love doing that. But then you jam your fingers in and get them stuck in the kit. It's like, stop, you're going to break it. And then ding, and your thumb fell off. But yes, that was a big bugger, that one. Yeah,
big heavy one.
Yeah.
And you couldn't type fast either because they were designed so that you had to. That's why the keyboard is so strange, your QWERTY layout. It's because the original manual typewriters, they had to slow it down because people were typing too fast. So they deliberately made it hard. To type, so you would have to slow down to type
because the machine couldn't handle it.
Because the machine couldn't handle it.
Yeah, well, there we go. I mean, I think that's why I'm so slow with computers now and my phone is because I know it can't handle it. I mean, it's nothing to do with my ability to actually cope with anything mechanical or technological at all. I'm just doing it just to allow the iPhone to keep up.
I like to talk to mine, but then you realise that you're still talking to it like half an hour later, and it's like a great big thing like this. Oh my God, who have I sent that to? Anyway, James, look at this. We're nearly half an hour.
We've banged through it.
So that is it for episode 13.
Yes.
We're touching on more of the local news.
Lots more stuff to
bits
cover.
And pieces. Little reminder as well, we are live at the Spring Arts Centre if you want to come and join us in the summer for our summer sizzler. All the details are on bringbackthe80spodcast.com.
Yeah, is it June? I think it's June.
June sometime.
Some point
we'll
in June, Havant Spring Arts. You just Google Bring Back the 80s Summer Sizzler, Spring Arts Centre in Havant, and grab a ticket.
If we don't see you there, we will see you next Tuesday.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition. We'd love it if you could subscribe in your favourite podcast app. And don't forget, there's a video version on YouTube too. You can contact us using the links in the show notes and on the YouTube channel. And we'll see you next time for another edition of Bring Back the 80s.